Jen, and I'm the teen librarian over at the Lucy Robbins Wells Library, and I'm going to book talk for you today a couple mysteries. The first mystery has to do with 6 high school students who are invited to a scholarship dinner. And it's really not a scholarship dinner. It is a trap. And someone has locked these teenagers into this room, and they discover that they're in this room with a syringe full of poison and a bomb and a note. And the note says, you have 1 hour to choose one of you to die. And if you don't choose, at the end of the hour, you all die. So that is how this book opens. No one knows how all of these 6 are connected and who would want them dead. So they spend the next hour just ticking down the minutes, retracing the past year and seeing the connections between them. And they all realize pretty quick that they are all hiding something. So they're all suspicious of each other. And as each minute ticks down, they start to feel more pressure and more fear, because at the end of this hour, they have to choose one of them to die. So that's basically what this book, All Our Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban, is all about. I really loved this book, and I read it very quickly. I flew through the chapters. I wanted to see what happened and which secrets were revealed, and there was lots of twists and turns. And the pressure builds as the book goes on, and there are lots of surprises in this book, and especially the ending. I was quite surprised at the ending, which I love when that happens. For those of you who have read One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus, you will probably love this book, or any type of locked room mysteries. So you will enjoy All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban. The next mystery I'd like to talk about today is called Jackaby, written by William Ritter. And this is several years old, and it's a 2017 Nutmeg nominee. This is one book of 4 in a series, and this has a little bit of mystery, a little bit of adventure, lots of paranormal, and a little bit of light horror. It has everything in it. The main character, her name is Abigail Rook, and she travels by ship to New England in 1892, and she is looking for 2 things. She's looking for adventure, and she's looking for employment. And these are 2 things that are very hard to come by in England in 1892 when you're a proper lady. So she ends up in New England, and she looks and answers an advertisement for an investigative assistant. And she immediately goes to the home of a man named R.F. Jackaby, and he is an investigator. He's not a normal investigator. R.F. Jackaby kind of reminds you a lot of a Sherlock Holmes. Very eccentric, very strange. A lot of people don't understand him, but very smart. And he hires Abigail on the spot and immediately takes her with him for a very first case. There is a serial killer on the loose in this town. There's been a series of murders, and one more gruesome than the next. And he tells her that he doesn't think that the killer is human. And that's her first indication that he is not like a normal investigator. And so there is a serial killer on the loose, and they start to investigate all these very, very bizarre things that are going on. And she's starting to understand that this is not a normal job, but she's definitely getting the adventure that she was looking for in the new world. There are many, many things at play in this town while they're investigating these murders. There's this underlying story, and there's someone or some things in this town that don't want them to solve these murders. They don't want them to solve them because there's even a more sinister plot underlying in this town, and they don't want them to be found. So this is the first book in a series. The first one is Jackaby, and they call it Sherlock Holmes crossed with kind of a Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The second book in the series is The Beastly Bones and Ghostly Echoes, and last but not least, the end, The Dire King. So if you like mystery, adventure, paranormal, light horror, you will love this book series.
Hi, I'm Miss Bailey, and I'm here to talk to you about the book Whispering Pines by Heidi Lang. It's new to our collection, and I had to share it with you. Whispering Pines is actually a made-up Connecticut town in the book that is a pretty strange town. There's mysterious sinkholes in the town, kids go missing from time to time, and the schools have some pretty strange rules, such as one can't use chalk, and students shouldn't wear garlic to school. So I already know there's something up in this town. And Ray is new to the school, new to the town, and she just wants to fit in. Last year, her father went missing, and Ray confided in her best friend that she thought he was abducted due to a discovery of an alien existence that the company he worked for found. So the friend actually betrays Ray and tells everybody, and Ray ends up getting made fun of and just ostracized. So this is her new chance, and she wants to fit in. Then you have her new neighbor, Caden, who has always been known as the town weirdo in school, and his mom is a ghost hunter. Caden himself has some paranormal gifts that got him in trouble when he was younger, and his brother, his older brother, just went missing, and he's the only one who knows why. So these two are brought together because students start to go missing again, and then they reappear almost zombie-like with their eyes missing, and their bodies are covered in these weird scars. And some of the adults kind of aren't really giving it the attention that it needs. So Caden and Ray take it upon themselves to figure out what's going on. Except Caden has a secret of his own because he kind of knows why there's something hunting these students. So please read this if you enjoyed Stranger Things and you like being creeped out.
Bad Girls Don't Die by Katie Allender. Hi, I'm Joanne from the Lucy Robbins Wells Library, and I'm here to tell you about this awesome book. Alexis is leading a very dysfunctional high school life. Her parents' marriage has fallen apart. Her sister Casey, who's 12, is doll crazy. And Alexis herself is antisocial. One night at dinner, there's a family fight, and Casey runs down to the basement crying. Alexis follows her, and to make her feel better, she tells her a story. The story is amazing, and Alexis doesn't know where it's coming from. It's like somebody is telling the story through Alexis. Alexis's life begins to unravel after this story is told. Casey is acting really strange. Her blue eyes go green sometimes, losing track of chunks of her life, knowing nothing about the strange behavior she's showing. The old house that they live in is starting to act strange as well. Doors are opening and closing all on their own. Water is boiling on an unlit stove. An air conditioning that's not even plugged in is making the house freezing cold. The situation has become life-threatening for Alexis, her family, and friends. Alexis turns to the most unexpected ally, cheerleader Megan from high school. She reaches out to Megan for help because Megan has some insight on what's going on in Alexis's home. In the end, though, Alexis is the only person who can stop Casey. But what if the green-eyed girl who is taking over Casey's body is there to stay and Casey is gone forever? Read to find out if This race against time to save Casey and her family and friends is something Alexis can do.
Hello everyone, my name is Miss Sarah from the Lucy Robins Wells Library. I'm going to talk to you guys about a really fun spooky read. So this one is great if you're a fan of mysteries. So it's called Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. So this is the first of a trilogy, all about Ellingham Academy. So this story goes back and forth between the past and the present. So to get a good idea about the story, we'll start in the past. So Ellingham Academy is built by a man named Albert Ellingham. He decides he wants to build a school because he's an eccentric billionaire, so why not? And he wants to make this school extremely fun. He wants to make learning like a game. So he fills the school with riddles, hidden passageways, paths that lead to nowhere, and he only lets in the brightest minds he can find, kids that will go on to do amazing things in history. But shortly after his school opens, his wife and his 3-year-old daughter Alice are kidnapped, and the only clue that he has is a riddle left on his desk, signed by Truly Devious. And this riddle lists different ways of murder. It's not looking too good. And as time goes by, he spends almost all of his money on trying to solve the case. But they're never found, and the case goes unsolved, and it becomes the greatest unsolved mystery in American history. We'll flash forward to the present, and our main character, Stevie Bell, is now starting at Ellingham Academy. And she's being enrolled because she wants to become a detective. And she's determined that she's going to solve this unsolvable crime. But first she's going to have to get used to starting at a brand new school, such as all the hard classes that Ellingham has, and her eccentric new housemates. And just as she's getting used to the school, Truly Devious makes a surprise return and death revisits the school. The past has crawled out of its grave, and someone has just gotten away with murder. Do you think Stevie can solve the mystery? You'll have to read and find out. So definitely check this out if you're a big fan of murder mysteries. This is an awesome trilogy. Definitely recommend it.
I'm Mrs. Mendelson. I'm going to talk to you about the YA book Bloom by Kenneth Oppel. It's a sci-fi book with a little bit of horror mixed in there. It takes place on Salt Spring Island off the coast of British Columbia in Canada. It starts off where, typical British Columbia weather. It's raining, but the rain is a little weird. It feels weird, and shortly after the rain comes, these weird plants begin to grow. They're blacks and spiky, and you can't get rid of them. If you touch them, you get cut. When they flower, they produce this pollen that causes severe allergic reactions to everybody, and it's pretty much impossible to kill. You try cutting it, you break your knives on it, but there are 3 teenagers, Anaya, Petra, and Seth. They are all immune to the plant toxins. They've had other allergies which seem to have disappeared when the rain started coming. Petra was always allergic to water. It's a strange allergy, but she was allergic to water. But the strange rain, she saved some of that rainwater. It was fine. She was finally able to take a real shower, a real bath using the rainwater. So they were immune to those toxins. There were other plants. They call them pit plants. They're kind of like a Venus flytrap underground, where if you fall into the plant, it digests you. And again, Anaya, Petra, and Seth were all immune to the toxins that come out of these plants. So everybody's trying to figure out, why are these 3 teenagers immune to these toxins? What do they have in common? Now, these plants are taking over the island and killing people, and Anaya's father happens to be a scientist, a plant scientist. So he tries to develop an herbicide. So you'll have to read the book to find out what happens. This is the first book in a trilogy. The next book is Hatch, and that comes out this fall, and then Thrive is the 3rd book, and that will come out in the spring. All right, the book I'm going to talk to you about now is Nyxia by Scott Reintgen. This happens to be one of the Nutmeg books for grades 7 and 8. This can be described as Hunger Games in space. The main character in here is Emmett. He's one of 10 teens chosen to go on this special 3-year mission. They're going to go to another planet. The planet's called Eden, and their role is to mine this new mineral called Nyxia. Nyxia is an interactive black mineral that they use their thoughts to shape it. So on their trip out there, they're training to learn how to use the Nyxia because they can take a small amount, they can make it into a bracelet, they can make it into a weapon. The natives of the planet are called Adamites, and they like the kids, which is why the kids, teenagers, are going to do this mission because the Adamites don't like the adults, and they've fought them and killed several of them. So the kids are going to Eden to learn how to mine the Nyxia. Now, like the Hunger Games, things don't go according to plan. Some things with the Nyxia go awry. There's more competition, and in the training, they get them ready for things that will be on the planets. So some creepy creatures and things that they're unexpected. So it is a thriller. It's also a trilogy. So if you like the first one, you can check out the second and the third one as well.
Hello, it's Mrs. Cobb with a spooky pick for the month of October. My pick for this month is Gilda Joyce, Psychic Investigator by Jennifer Allison. Gilda Joyce lives in Michigan with her mom and her older brother Stephen. Her dad has died a few years earlier. As the book begins, Gilda has just finished 8th grade, is getting ready for summer vacation. Gilda is an interesting character. She enjoys wearing disguises and spying on people, reading her Master Psychic's Handbook, and is a very goal-oriented person. Her prized possession is an old-fashioned typewriter that her father gave her before he died. So for summer vacation, Gilda manages to finagle an invitation to a distant cousin's San Francisco mansion where she meets her cousin Juliet. Juliet is unique in her own way too. She's kind of a gloomy, frail and pale girl. She's recovering from an injury. She's a bit of a hermit and spends most of her time holed up in her room, and she has apparently no friends. And Gilda and Juliet do not hit it off at first. Several years ago, when Juliet was a young child, a tragic incident occurred in the tower of her mansion, and now the tower has been deemed unsafe by her father, and it is locked at all times and off limits. At night, Gilda hears noises coming from the locked tower, and Gilda is certain it is a ghost. She decides to use her developing psychic powers and investigate. Of course, with Gilda taking the lead, her investigation involves things like disguises, a Ouija board, a seance, and also she uses some other techniques that she's picked up from the Master Psychic's Handbook. She also develops some outlandish theories about the noise and the incident in the tower. Can Gilda and Juliet come together and solve this family mystery? I would recommend Gilda Joyce, Psychic Investigator, if you like mysteries, quirky characters, or if you're interested in psychic powers. Thank you.